One. Welcome into the fourth Mother Box. Happy Flash Day. It is midnight. It is 12:29 Eastern Standard Time on June 16th, Friday. Last Jedi still canon, and we have seen The Flash here, fourth Mother Box. I am Tom Okri. Joining me as always is Kyle Cosentino over there in Chicago right now. He's an hour behind me, so it's still Thursday. So funny, we're kind of traveling in time here while we're recording this podcast, talking about The Flash. God, I didn't plan that. Yes. So you're following us at Fourth Mother Box on Instagram, by the way. We want to know what you think about The Flash. Kyle and I haven't done this. Normally, we're old men in bed right now, but we really want to talk about The Flash. So we're just going to jump right into it. This is going to be a shorter episode than it normally is. This is going to be our episode for the week. If we are able to fit something else in, we will get there, but this is all going to be all about The Flash. So we just got out of it, and Kyle, and guys, this is honest to God truth. This is the first time I'm hearing what Kyle thinks about this movie, and it's the first time he's hearing what I think about it. I'm anxious to talk about it, good and bad things. Kyle, initial thoughts, man. I'm just dying to hear what you thought.
Well, before we start with our thoughts, we probably should say beware of spoilers.
Oh, yeah. I was, spoiler is going to be put in the title of this episode, so.
Okay, good. I loved it. I thought it was an excellent movie.
Yeah. Excellent? I don't know if I'd say excellent. I very much enjoyed it. It's not in my top 5 comic book. I don't know. I'm sitting here literally processing it right now. I think I want to give a rating to the movie at the end because I am still digesting it. But let's just kind of break it down like piece by piece, because there was so many fun things in this movie. And something glaringly that bothered the hell out of me, though, that I think I can get over. But let's just talk about the highlights, man. And I think we're going to be all over the place here. Because this movie just pretty much jumps right into it, like straight up action. The Flash is the Flash, Batman is Batman. Superman exists, and they've shown him, and they talked about him a few times.
Okay. That's what it was.
3, 2, 1. So yeah, sorry about that. I had to make a quick technical cut there, but yeah, just getting right directly into the movie and all the fun stuff. It just starts right off the bat with action. Flash is the Flash, and we know who is who. And if you're coming into this movie, I would say, Kyle, wouldn't you think if you didn't have a knowledge of what the current mess of a DC extended universe is, you might be a little lost, because they made some subtle nods to some past films, pretty early on.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They spent no time, it was definitely not a slow start movie. They just jumped right in. And I don't know if you noticed this, but the CGI in the beginning was kind of a bit under par.
This is my this was my big problem of this movie. Everything else I loved.
It got better.
It sticks with me.
It got better.
It gets better.
It got better as time goes on, but in the beginning I'm like, wow, the CGI is just it was just I mean, it was kind of obvious, and I'm just as the longest time they took on this, it just doesn't make any sense. And what's with WB in their CGI problems? Because we had this with the first Justice League too. Seriously, we can't put out a quality product. Anyway, but that's again, I felt like.
Well, let's talk about that real quick, because when I was sitting in the theater waiting for the credits, I pulled my phone up, or the post credit scene. I pulled my phone up, and the first thing was a story that said Andy Muschietti says the visual effects look the way they do because you're seeing things through the perception of the Flash as Barry. And when I hear that at first, right, I'm with you. I don't think I think that's a poor excuse. I think that's a bad cop-out because you are Warner Brothers. This movie was supposed to come out in 2019, and I don't give a shit how many times you rewrote this story and had to retool it because you mishandled Zack Snyder's universe. you should have had the money to fix this. All right, you should have had the money to make this look better. Or even if this CGI looks the way it looks in the parts that it looks like, right? It's such a big budget flick like this, where you have Michael fucking Keaton coming back to play Batman. Don't make it look like it barely passed the CW approvers, right? So it's one of those things where, even if true, like when you hear it, you're like, yeah, that's bullshit. You know, you're just copping out for like lack of money spent on visual effects.
You know, even Ben Affleck's Batman suit, it just felt off to me. Like, I don't know why they went with that, and it just, like, his mask and it just seemed very off to me in the beginning. But then, you know, obviously after that, when the movie really starts to get into it, it really stopped becoming a problem for me personally. But yeah, right. Just that, like, really opening scene, I was just like, what the fuck is with the CGI? It felt like a bit of CW. And speaking of CW, we didn't get a cameo from somebody from the CW, which I was a little surprised and a bit disappointed too with that. Unless
he was subtly in that one scene that we'll get to, that real pivotal scene where there were a bunch of cameos. Yeah. Unless he's subtly there, but like we kind of already got it, and Ezra cameoed on his film, or on his series. So
yeah, but they said pretty specifically, and I feel like everybody thought that he was going to be in it. So maybe again, this is just something that was in that one scene, and I missed it, but I don't know.
Maybe,
you know, despite that, we still got some pretty fucking good cameos, in particular that scene. I was really surprised.
Yeah, you know, since we're kind of all over the place here, we can talk about that scene specifically right now. So if you've seen this movie, and of course you have, because if you're watching this or listening to this anytime soon, you've already seen this, because this is a spoiler-ridden episode to talk about the Flash. But in the scene where like all the multiverses are seeing what the Barrys are doing and changing the course of time, and everything is like starting to just kind of crash into each other or mix together and whatnot, we start to get all these crazy cameos. And keep me honest, Kyle, if I missed one, but you know, major ones that come to mind are one, Christopher Reeves, right off the bat.
Oh, absolutely.
That was incredible. That was incredible. I don't care if it, you know, I know it was probably all CGI'd and artificial, whatever. It was still really cool to see, right? He's, you know, Henry Cavill's my favorite, and all things considered, he wasn't in the movie, but his Superman was. So, all things considered, right, you know, they were all represented there in the movie. And arguably Christopher Reeve is a lot of people's favorite Superman, and I respect that. I don't agree with it, but I respect it, and it was really cool to see that. So, and then and Supergirl landed right next to him.
Right, and she has her own movie too. That was like after the Christopher Reeve films, and I think they were connected. I just think nobody watched it. But
yeah, it was not nearly as popular, unfortunately. But you're right. I think you are correct.
But it's on HBO Max or Max, which is what it is now. So I really like that, because I feel like Christopher Reeve is such a, you know, when you think about superhero movies of the past, like this is just his movies come up. This is just these are classic old school superhero movies that did really well. They're iconic. You know, so I'm glad that he had his place in there. I think that was a really great homage.
Yeah.
There were some other ones I'm like, what? Really? You know?
Are you talking about Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, and that was like the Tim Burton Superman movie that he was going to do, and when he screen tested it, Nicolas Cage screen tested it in a suit, which I think was like, you know, Tim didn't know about that, and he was like, why the fuck did they do that? I'm like, and I was telling him about that. So I think that was like a kind of funny that they did that, you know. It was
a deep cut nod to DC fans.
Absolutely.
Especially those of us who have watched The Death of Superman Lives, and I'm sure Kevin Smith's balls blew up. when he saw that cameo, but I'm sure he knew about that way ahead of time. So yeah, absolutely. In that same movie, I think Chris Rock was going to be Jimmy Olsen. Like that would have been fucking wild, and it would have worked. So yeah, Nick Cage was fighting like a giant spider, and we got his cameo in the Superman suit. Looked really cool. We kept. Man, I don't know about you, but I started to sit on the edge of my seat when they were going towards the Batman, and I'm like, here we go. This is him. They're gonna do it, but I think I'm glad they didn't include Christian Bale. I don't know what you think.
I was thinking the same thing too. Like, when they had that scene where it showed all the Earths colliding with each other, all the multiverse colliding colliding with each other, and I'm like,
and to try to explain this for people, if you're just listening to this and not seeing the movie, they looked like Earths, like planets, like Kyle was saying, but like they all had like different levels, and each level had like a different version of the character. They had like different Batman, different Superman, different Flashes. So go on, Kyle.
And yeah, they had. I think that was Christopher Reeve's father, George Reeve, with the like black and white. I think that was him. That wasn't our generation, but
no.
Actually, Christopher Reeve wasn't our generation either.
It was not.
But anyway, yeah, I was thinking, I'm like, all right, we're gonna see Christian Bale's Batman. We're gonna see him.
Yeah.
Or I was thinking, like, what if we see, Robert Pattinson's Batman? I was just I was just prepared to see anything, but they didn't show it, and I was really bummed. I was really bummed. And the other one at the very end, I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
That one got me because, like, for a hot minute, I forgot that George Clooney was a Batman, and then when he gets out of the car, which I thought was going to be Michael Keaton,
me too.
I was like George Clooney. And then I was like, oh, George Clooney.
You know what? It as much as I wanted that to be like Christian Bale or even Michael Keaton, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think George Clooney made sense just because it was a funny joke. Like even George
1,000%.
Clooney hates George Clooney Batman. That kind of was perfectly done.
I like the comedic end to the Snyderverse, if this is the way it ended, right? Like the nod to George Clooney, right? Like, fuck, man. Like so much happened in this movie. Like,
but
if we assume the Snyderverse is over, like we got our final performance from Ben Affleck, unless he's in Blue Beetle.
He is in Blue Beetle. So that's why I was saying to you earlier, is this really the end? Because I think it's really just the end for like Henry Cavill and Ray Fisher. But, Aquaman has a movie. We know Wonder Woman is not going anywhere. She's staying. Gal Gadot is still Wonder Woman.
She's in the movie, by the way.
She was, absolutely she was in the movie, which is awesome.
That was a funny scene when, like, the three of them had the lasso of truth around them.
yeah, that was good. And, it's likely that this movie is going to do really well financially. And,
I hope.
Oh, it will. Because I feel I really feel like it's going to. We're going to get another movie out of this. We just are. I mean, I'd be really surprised if it bombed at the box office, but I just don't think it will.
The critics hate it, and the audience loves it. So
the critics don't totally hate it because I think it's like at a 67%. Like in
is that good?
Yeah.
Or is that mediocre?
Yeah, it's like at a 67-70% for critics. And for like the audience, it's like 95. So people really like it. I will say that like the hype level of this movie didn't match like the movie itself. Like I feel like the hype was. I thought I was walking into like a masterpiece, and it wasn't.
Agreed.
I would agree that it wasn't a masterpiece. But it was still really good. It was still really a fun film. Like I'd give it like a 9, 8 out of 5, 9, 8.59 out of 10.
Yeah. I would call it a fun film as well. Like there's certain liberties that you just have to allow comic book movies to take. We're not walking in and getting ready to see, the Schindler's List or anything like that, right? But you're showing up to have a good time, but. Now, I do think that there are a few exceptions to this rule. with as far as like these movies, they can like be masterpieces. The first ones that come to mind are Dark Knight, and for me, just leave me alone, people. But Zack Snyder's Justice League is a masterpiece, and then the Batman too. Like those from like comic book movies, and then I would put Captain America: Winter Soldier in there, and Avengers: Infinity War. I would say those are beautifully written movies, which should be up there with like top films.
Yeah.
But like all the rest of the comic book like films and stuff like that, like you got to put those in like another tier, and that's why we rank them as comic book fans. And I'm with Kyle on this one. This one was not like a chef's kiss masterpiece, right? This one is not up there with Dark Knight. It's not up there with, in Infinity War and Endgame to some people. It's not up there with like Deadpool. If Deadpool's in that mix, I don't know if it is.
No.
Yeah, this movie sits firmly in, for my opinion, a really good comic book movie in the comic book world. And I just want to say one more thing about the visual effects, Kyle, and I'd be curious to get your stance here. God fucking damn it. God fucking damn it. The card just told me I'm full, so that's okay. We're just going to keep recording the video, and we're just going to upload the video this week. So, calling it audible here, people. So, Kyle, just send me your video, and we'll just have to get the video up this week. So, I'm not editing that part out. So anyway, so the visual effects piece, we have not seen anybody do visual effects for DC better than Zack Snyder. I'm willing to stand on a like pedestal for that and get beaten with tomatoes for people who don't disagree with me, because that thing that Andy Muschietti said about the visual effects, the more I sit on it, I'm like, man, I feel like he's really copping out for his people. And it sucks that we're never going to get like the shit we saw in the Snyder Cut versus like a film that's been being worked on for 4 fucking years, more than 4 years, and then we get what we got. So
now, would you say that it's worse than Ant-Man Quantumania?
From like the visual effects?
Mm-hmm.
I would say is better than Ant-Man Quantumania.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Like, I think that was just like kind of a mess. So
but this is levels beyond Quantumania in my mind, just from like a movie itself. So like I don't even think
absolutely.
about
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This was refreshing to see, because like I don't know, it just felt like it was kind of a bit of a reset for movies, superhero movies, maybe movies in general. Like, it just was a good story. It kept my interest the whole time. I was never like bored. I had a few shitheads in my theater, which some people, they can't separate themselves from their phone for more than 10 minutes. They just can't.
Oh.
And if you're in the 18 to 22-year-old range and you go with your friends to a movie, you don't have to scream really loud. You don't have to act like a jackass. You could just sit and watch the movie like everybody else. That's the thing people do, Anyway.
So, So, Kyle and I are going to do more of a full breakdown on this on the next full episode that we do. This is really a quick reaction to The Flash. So, I want to pivot because in being an ADHD kid right now, Kyle, so let's just talk about the thing we were both looking forward to the most in this movie is Michael Keaton.
Fuck yeah.
So, what do we think about Michael Keaton? And you're a Keaton fan more than I am, so I'll let you take this one.
I think he did really well. I think he looked good. The fighting choreography was good. I think I was pleasantly pleased. I wish I didn't see most of his scenes in the trailer, but I think he did really, really well. And there were some, good lines that he had said during the movie too. When he's dying and he says to Barry, Barry's I can bring you back to life, and he's like, you already did. I really like that line.
Yeah.
I think that was really, really well done.
Yes, it was. That was really well done, and kind of like a direction with his Batman that I didn't expect. to a certain extent.
I like the nod
It-
to the Joker, Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Oh,
I,
that was so good.
I was like, thank you for putting that in there. That was very, very well received.
So those of you that are unaware, or if you missed it, I believe younger Barry, 18-year-old Barry, was farting around the Batmobile, and he went down to older Barry, who is our current DCEU Flash, and he said, "Look what I found!" And this bag laughs, and he opened up the bag, and it's like the chattering teeth laugh from the 1989 Batman, and it's a ode to Jack Nicholson. So, so fucking cool. That was cool. That was cool, and it wasn't overdone, and it wasn't not done at all. Like they, made a point to, give an ode to Nicholson's Joker without like having him show up because he's dead in canon technically, and they didn't overdo it because sometimes you can overdo shit like that,
Well, this Michael Keaton Batman probably wasn't our Michael Keaton Batman because the house was different, right? He was in Bruce Wayne's, like Ben Affleck Bruce Wayne's house.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I guess I never thought about that. So
but
I just assumed the Joker's dead then.
One of the things that was like kind of that I kept thinking about during the film was that Ezra Miller is funny as the Flash. He's good as the Flash. But like
he is, which is painful to say.
It is. I give him credit. He does really well. But like it's just so different watching him now. Like and it's just like you want to like him, but you like can't. Because just of who he is as a person.
Yeah, like the chemistry he had with himself was spectacular.
Well, yeah, right. That part, right. I'm just saying it's like, in the real world. It's just kind of hard to connect with him and like relate with him when he's just kind of a piece of shit person in the real world. So, that's the one thing I found hard, and I think Andy Muschietti said that they wouldn't consider recasting him, but they really should. Like,
whatever. Speaking of Andy Muschietti, did you see he is officially directing Batman: Brave and the Bold?
Is he really?
Mm-hmm. It's like confirmed.
Oh,
he's got it.
That's cool.
He is taking the helm. He's taking the helm with it.
He made a cameo in this movie. He was the hot dog guy.
I didn't even notice that. Good catch.
At the end, Barry steals a hot dog from some guy. And I was looking at him like, I think that was the director, Andy Muschietti. And then I looked in the credits and it was him.
Speaking of hot dogs, remember in the movie, I'm telling you, this movie made a subtle nod that Zack Snyder's Justice League is canon over Justice League. Iris, when she runs into Barry, when she's looking for Barry, she goes, "Didn't I see you, like not that long ago?"
Yeah.
After it was confirmed,
absolutely,
or sort of confirmed that they had seen each other in college, but then she's like, "Wait, didn't I see you before, or like see you at a different time?" And that moment she's talking about is a several minute scene that Iris West has in Zack Snyder's Justice League. That is not in Justice League. It's not in Joss Whedon's piece of shit crap that I don't acknowledge as canon. It's with the hot dogs. He's trying to get a job as a dog whatever at the groomer place, and then he saves her and he puts a hot dog in his pocket. It's a whole scene. It's a beautifully slow-mo shot, but it's a flash slow-mo shot, so it's needed. And she made mention of that, and I don't know if many people are going to pick that up. I sure hope they do. But Zack Snyder's Justice League, to me, after that comment, is officially canon. But I mean, after the Flash, none of it's canon, so they're resetting it.
So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was how this was very influenced by Flashpoint, but it was kind of nothing like Flashpoint. I mean, some of the plot devices from the comic book, the storyline of Flashpoint was the same, but then they changed a lot of it. Like, I bet you were like me that, that creature in the Speed Force that you probably thought that's the Reverse Flash for sure. But then it turns out to be an older.
That's the first thought. Yeah.
But then it turned out to be an older Barry. Like, I don't know. Like, I like how they changed some things up, but like I personally like the Flashpoint storyline better than this storyline. again, like I'm glad they didn't just like copy
yeah.
and paste that, but I just wanted to say, like, just for the record, I think that the original storyline is so much better. And I was kind of like thinking, like, are we, we had so many thoughts, like, what could have happened? Could we have seen more with Wonder Woman? Because she was kind of a prominent character in the original Flashpoint storyline. I mean, and then obviously Thomas Wayne Batman, who was like just more brutal, which would have just been really fucking cool too. So,
Right. Yeah. It was really cool to see, like, Barry, when he didn't have his powers, he was like looking up the Justice League to see if they had formed yet, and he's like looking up Victor Stone, and then he's looking up Wonder Woman and all the shit he's finding. It's just like running amok. And then when he finally gets to Batman, what did you think? What did you think of Michael Keaton's like introduction, like reintroducing into, like coming back, because he had a full beard, long hair, and then he fights him. What'd you think of that? I thought that was a funny little moment, funny scene for him. There.
Sure, very funny scene. An interesting introduction. Kind of like old crazy man Bruce Wayne kind of thing, but it was fine. I think it was a good.
What I loved was seeing this version of Keaton's Batman like really kick ass, like Arkham style, like Arkham video game style. Because he was really more of a brawler, I'd say, in like the '89 in the Burton films. But now to see him move like Batfleck too, like that's one of the reasons why I love Snyder's Batman and Affleck's Batman, is because of how he moves and he fights. To see it like that, it's like, damn, that was slick. It looks really good.
He definitely stole the spotlight of this film, but and it's perfectly okay. Like it really is. We all wanted to see it. Like we needed to see that. So I'm happy that it happened. Like I'm happy the way they dealt with his character. And like again, it's the multiverse. Who knows what will happen in the future? I think if they had to end it, like I think it was a fitting end for him.
Do you think?
So
it was.
You never know.
Did you think that they made a subtle dig at the MCU at Endgame with the comment Keaton made about? He's like I'm sure you heard it in another movie about like timelines making branch timelines or something like that. And when he was talking about the spaghetti and like the pot. Is that how Endgame? Is that how the Avengers explain time? No, but
does it matter?
I just want to know if fucking DC threw shade at Marvel. I'm gonna figure that out.
Well, somebody should, because Marvel's like kind of tanking right now. Like I mean, maybe Disney is too a little bit, because they keep promoting Avatar like it's something everybody wants, but I don't know. I still don't want to watch Avatar, even though it's free on Disney Plus. I don't want to watch it. I don't know why people like it. I don't know why we're getting a fucking Avatar video game now. Like, there's, I don't have to look on Spotify to know that there's no Avatar fan podcast. There's just not. There isn't. Nope. There's no like fan like exploring the lore. Like nobody's like talking about the lore of Avatar. Nobody gives a shit. But whatever.
So yeah, Keaton steals the show. Look, Ben Affleck's Batman was in it. He was in it mostly in the beginning. Ben Affleck said to himself, he's like he felt like he finally got Batman right in this film. I think he got Batman right before that, but I don't know. I mean, this was more jovial Batman. This was more
because he got Batman right in the warehouse scene. Nobody can deny that. That's 100% pure, uncut fucking Batman. Like 100%. He got it right then, right then and there. Hell, he got it right in Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League too. So. But yeah, that warehouse scene, I mean, WB is so stupid because it's just like, just give us that everybody unanimously agrees that is like one of the most badass Batman scenes of all
I
time.
think,
Just give us that. Like, it's not hard. Just do that. Like, really.
in that same beginning, right? Like, I don't know. I don't feel closure with the Snyderverse yet. Like I do and I don't. This movie was very entertaining and fun, but it didn't put me at ease that my favorite versions of my DC characters are not really going to return. Oh, well, they're done. They're not returning. Because it's like, it just felt weird that this arc was finished by not Zack Snyder. And I'm not just saying that as like a Snyder fan or boy or somebody who's bitching. No, I support these movies and I go see them all, right? I give it my chance, and I like a lot of the stuff James Gunn is going to be doing for DC in the future, but just this did not feel like a closure to me, but it's still processing. Obviously, I think Affleck has done better as Batman in previous flicks than this one, but this one was great too. It was just so much fun to see him too.
Yeah, and I just have to say it because I've said it a million times, and I'm going to say it a million one times. I'm so fucking pissed that Henry Cavill is not, like, in this film, not in the future of films.
His
like,
back was
as
in
Superman.
this film.
I'm just fucking pissed about that. Some guy even yelled, some
What
fat
did he
guy
yell?
with like nachos even yelled that in our theater today. So, and he wasn't wrong. He just says like, somebody, where's fucking Henry Cavill? Blah, blah, blah. And then as he was like stuffing nachos in his face, he said that.
He does have a
but
point.
He has a point. Where was Henry Cavill? Like, it's just terrible. Like, I just can't. Like, maybe I just can't get past this, and I'm sorry if I have to keep saying it. But I just can't. Like, I can't get past it. Like, it's just terrible.
I'm going to give more detailed thoughts once I give the chance this movie to process. When Kyle and I get together for a full show, next time we get together for a full show, and I'll turn it over to you if you have anything else to say on this. But I think I'd rank The Flash at like 8.75 out of 10. 8.75 out of 10. It was.
Yeah,
it had its
that's a good
spot.
score.
Like
It's a good score.
If the visual effects looked better, this would be much higher than an 8.75.
Yeah, absolutely. And we could talk about like what was your thoughts about?
I liked it. I
Sasha
had
Kelly's
no problem
Supergirl.
with it. I like that they kept the tone of like who her Kryptonian race kind of were. Like, it felt like she belonged as Supergirl to Henry Cavill's Superman, right? Like, they felt like they would make a terrific pair together.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like, okay, like these two are like related. Like, I really do see that. We didn't get enough of her. I think we need more. So, but it's
No, we didn't. And I kind of felt like we didn't get enough of Zod either. Like, he was just such a great villain, and not that they should have just rehashed everything of Man of Steel, but I feel like, I don't know, I just wanted them to build it up some more, because you really didn't know who the villain was going to be in the film, and there kind of wasn't like a main villain. In a sense. Like, I mean, there was, but it just kind of didn't feel like there was somebody threatening the world that was... I don't know. I don't know if you felt that way, but it's just kind of like, is the villain going to be like this guy in the Speed Force, or...
It was Barry versus Barry. He's the one who caused it, and he had to fix the mess. So...
He was a little bit... I'd say the younger Barry was a little bit over the top. Like, I feel like they could have just dialed him down just a bit. Like, he was kind of a spaz in some points. I'm like, okay, this is getting a little bit much. But it was fine. It was fine. Just like I would just like
I'm with you.
dial it back just by like one.
Still digesting these thoughts. We want to hear what you think at Fourth Mother Box on Instagram. Let us know. Post it, yell it, scream it. Comment down below here on the YouTubes. Follow us there too. Kyle, before I give you... Actually, I'm all out of thoughts because I know we wanted to keep this a little shorter today. So what are your final thoughts on The Flash? And this is how we'll end today's show.
Well, I'll end it by another thing that I picked up during the movie. Another saying, a quote. And I think it was older Barry telling younger Barry. And he said something to the effect of, "You can't live in the past, you have to live your life."